Then there is this.
There will be no tax increases in connection with raising the debt ceiling.
In terms of a long-term solution to this problem, it has to include all aspects of spending, including spending through the tax code.
Okay, so Republicans say no way. The White House says yeah way. Tax hikes could very much be on the way. So is today's meeting between the President and Senate Republicans all for show? Wyoming Republican Senator John Barrasso sat in on that meeting. He joins me right now. You were concerned yesterday that it could be for show, Senator. What's your feeling now?
Well, Neil, I think it depends on the results. Look, we have a $14 trillion debt in this country. The president wants to raise the debt ceiling. I'm not ready to give him a blank check or a new credit card. So the meeting today, it was a candid discussion, and whether it's productive or not depends on what the president ultimately takes away from that meeting and what he incorporates into the needs that this country has to get its financial house in order. Well, what was your sense then, Senator? Did he give any indication about the so-called debt trigger? In other words, if we're not meeting the numbers, I think the White House's view was tax hikes go into effect, not so much spending cuts. It wasn't a specific negotiation, but we did talk about the need to put a cap on spending as opposed to a total debt cap, which the president, I think, is more interested in having, which would involve additional taxes. You know, if we get increased tax revenue in this country because we're creating jobs in the private sector and growing the economy, that's one thing. But raising the tax rates, to me, is completely off of the table. But you are pegging, or you Republicans want to peg, any raise of the debt ceiling to cuts in spending. Maybe not the dollar-for-dollar type that John Boehner in the House is looking for, but something like that. Is the White House on board? Something like that? Not to the specific details yet, but we had a frank discussion about the need for entitlement reform, and some of these are very popular entitlements. But when you look at Medicare, and Neil, I practiced medicine for 25 years. I would say half of my time in my office was spent with people on Medicare or Medicaid. And with Medicare, you know, when they put that into play in 1965, men were living into their mid-60s, women into their early 70s. Yeah, so today, why are you and your Republican colleagues, why are you and your Republican colleagues not taking it up in your initial budget plan? Well, I brought it up specifically to the president, as did Tom Coburn, who's also a physician. We brought up the need to do responsible Medicare reform to save Medicare. Yeah, but maybe you should spend more time talking to your leaders, because they're the ones who aren't too keen on it. Well, the leadership and Senator McConnell all are interested in dealing with entitlement reform on our side, dealing with it. Look, if you just want to Neil, if you just want to nibble around the edges on this and take a little bit here and a little bit there, discretionary spending, you can never solve the major problem we have in this country. You have to be responsible, you have to deal with the entitlements, even though they're very popular. You're very right about that. Senator, Doctor, thank you very much. Thanks, Neil.